Youth in Italy. Youth in France. Youth in Germany. Youth in Russia. Youth in Spain. And youth in half a world gone mad with fear, hatred, and political ambition. Youth sacrificed to strange new creeds, to the principle that might makes right, to imperialism, and to the horrible gods of war. Youth in Japan and China. Youth in the most fleeting and precious period of life, dumbly obedient to diplomatic stupidities, giving its youthfulness to tragedy, because youth in most of the countries of the world, unfortunately, has never learned to play. Youth in America.
We'll beat him anyway. We don't care. What's the score, Shorty?
23-7.
Come on, fellas, play ball.
Oh, head you on a mud. Ah, you did not.
He's safe.
Youth calls to America.
Hello. Okay, George. National League. Great. See you at gate 12. Sure. Ought to be a great game. See you later. Bye. I won't be back this afternoon, Miss Evans.
Oh, Mr. Roberts.
I know. Your grandmother's sick and needs you. My grandmother used to be sick all summer. Here's a $50. Better buy her some flowers.
Oh, gee, thanks, Mr. Roberts. Yippee!
Youth clings to America.
Oh, those Democrats, they're the darndest parcel of... Don't you say nothing again the Democrats, Judd Toller. I can remember when the dud-blasted Republicans...
For God's sake, shut up, will you? The game's on. There's a man on first.
Is it? Turn it up a little bit, Irie.
Hack takes a 1-2-step lead down off first. Billy Herman in a crouch deep in batter's box waiting. He's the hitter. Down comes the pitch. Herman gets a hold of it. It's a sharp line drive hit out toward right center field. It's a base hit. Around second goes Hack. Herman is around first. Hack makes it to third. The throw in from Ripple. It's close at second. It's a slide, and he's safe.
Safe. Aye, in a land with a national game like baseball, youth indeed is safe. It makes for clean minds, it builds healthy bodies. Baseball is a safety valve for America. It supplies all this nation wants of conquest, battles, and heroes. The spirit of fair play and good sportsmanship has kept our nation young, virile, sane, and happy in spite of troubled times and passing hardships. Baseball in the headlines of American newspapers crowds the news of politics, international scares, wars, and the fates of empires. Its common interest knits family ties more closely. It provides a ground on which father and son can meet with mutual enthusiasm. For 100 years, it has been woven into the social fabric of America and has played a part in the molding of our character as a peace-loving people. Baseball, eternally young, is from generation to generation the heritage of youth. "100 years ago, when Martin Van Buren was president of a lusty, youthful country, the boys of America were playing Four Old Cat. They played it in Cooperstown, New York, as elsewhere, and it wasn't much of a game. But Abner Doubleday of that town was inspired by it and originated baseball substantially as it is today.
But I tell you, Graves, I know it will be a good game. Look here, you know I'm going into the Army, don't you? Well, what makes the Army fascinating? It's the offensive and defensive strategy. It's matching your brains and your men against the other fellow's brains and men. And that's what my game does. It's a battle.
Well, why not try it on these youngsters out there? There's plenty of them. How many do you need?
22, 11 in each troop. Let's try it.
All right.
Hey, Bob!
Hey there.
Come here. Hurry up. Do you boys want to play a new game? It's better than forecast.
Yeah, what is it? Sure, of course we do. Tell us about it. Is it fun?
Squat. In a circle. Now look at here. Now this square is around the pitcher in the center. The batter stands at this point. The catcher here. Now the batter is on the offensive and wants to capture each one of your bases, which you're defending, here, and here, and here, and get back home without being captured himself. Now, here's how you defend yourselves against the batter.
Well, Abner, the defensive looks a little weak in this war.
Yes. I know what's the matter, but I don't know how to fix it. The distance from home base to the other bases is too short. There's no suspense. That's what it needs.
What you need is an engineer.
An engineer?
You know, the essence of this game lies in the relation between the distance for the runner and the speed of the ball.
But 6 years elapsed before a young civil engineer named Alexander Cartwright in 1845 scientifically established the baseline at 90 feet, which has never been successfully changed. In 1849, Cartwright joined the gold rush to California after having contributed his remarkably accurate balance to the game. In his trek to the West, he established baseball clubs in each state and territory and mushroom town through which he passed. Thus, as the first baseball missionary, he created a national interest in the game. And so the years rolled on. Peaceful pursuits occupied the town dwellers. From busy fields, music and songs filled the air. But bitter sectional differences of opinion were arising, and soon on other fields, which were to run red with blood, Americans fought against Americans for principles each held right and sacred. In all the madness of those years, baseball was the recreation to which the war-worn soldiers turned in periods of rest. And at least one great spirit of the time recognized its deep significance.
Don't you agree with me, Mr. President?
Oh, I'm sorry, General. I'm afraid I wasn't following.
But, sir, this is very important.
Yes, I suppose so, General. Most things are important. I was thinking of that baseball game between the New York regiment and those Illinois soldiers.
But, Mr. Lincoln...
that game was important too, General. Think of the hundreds who watched that game and forgot for an hour or two this terrible business of war.
For you, Mr. President.
Illinois beat New York. You want to do something really important, General? It's to get the men in both armies back home, where they can play ball on their own ground.
In another year, the boys in blue and the boys in gray turned their steps on the road to home. Few realized in those early months that wounds would eventually heal, and none thought of baseball as one of the agencies of healing. Yet, so it was to be. To the north, south, east, and west, men tramped back to farms and cities which were to seem strange to them. The old order had passed away forever. The Industrial Revolution had begun. Railways and factories concentrated new thousands in feverishly active communities. The old Army baseball teams gave place to clubs representing their own towns, and civic battles were waged fiercely on newly made baseball diamonds.
As I have said, the interests of youth, of manhood, of sportsmanship, and of baseball itself demands that the game be preserved to the nation as a clean sport worthy of America. Now, I make no accusations. Let every man's conscience be his own guide in the matter here before us. But I hold the proxies and the powers of attorney from Cincinnati, St. Louis, Louisville, Chicago, to organize a national league of professional baseball clubs and to adopt a constitution for such a league. The constitution to be adopted declares the purposes of the league to be, first, to encourage, foster, and elevate baseball. Second, to enact and enforce proper rules for the exhibition and conduct of the game. Third, to make baseball playing respectable and honorable. I do not believe, gentlemen, that anyone here would want to or would dare to thwart our purposes. But I have locked that door, and I shall not unlock it on my honor until you gentlemen representing the players of Philadelphia, Hartford, Brooklyn, and New York move and second that such action as I have described be taken, or openly repudiate clean baseball. Are we to believe that you men are sports rather than sportsmen?
I make such a motion, Hulbert.
I second the motion. I second that motion, gentlemen.
I think it's a very good idea, Mr. Hulbert. Yes, I hear me. You're doing the same thing myself. Yes.
Within a year of the National League's formation, several dishonest players were discharged, and Hulbert, by Herculean efforts, was keeping baseball clean.
Well, I think the contract is satisfactory.
I'm glad of that. You?
Yes. It's me. You didn't expect to see me, did you, Bill? Are you Spaulding?
What do you want here?
I want to come back, Howard. I want to play ball again. I was a good ball player. Spaulding remembers that. I know I did wrong. I should have been expelled. But look at me. A tramp. But I can still play ball, Bill. Won't you give me another chance for old time's sake? You were my friend once.
Here's $50. That's what I think of you personally. But you sold a game, and I can never trust you again. I'm sorry. Al, that was the hardest job I ever had to do.
It was hard, but it's a great thing for baseball.
By such stern methods, baseball was made a respectable and honorable profession. Gradually, the better elements in the cities and towns, the workers and the socially elite attended the game for the game's sake. Baseball had been saved. With the passing of the years, National League baseball parks became things of beauty. In Pittsburgh, for example, the spectator's eyes leave the lawns to dwell on wooded hills and verdant fields beyond. But no matter how beautiful the grounds may be, the real thrill, of course, is the game. When many thousands of cheering spectators fill the stand. On Ladies' Day, as this view of Wrigley Field in Chicago shows, there is no letdown in attendance. For sustained interest, baseball surpasses any other sport in the world. On gala occasions such as the All-Star Game in Cincinnati, gay flags in Bunting add color to the already colorful scene. The music of military bands contributes the thrill of stirring airs to the shouts from jam-packed grandstands and bleachers, as ecstatic thousands forget worries and inhibitions and enjoy themselves. In Brooklyn and in Cincinnati, National League Baseball is played even at night. By a system of powerful floodlights, the fields are illuminated brilliantly so that other thousands of workers, busy during the day, will not be deprived of the pleasure of the game. But if the crowds are fine, so are the players. They have nice homes, just like any other good citizens, and many of them have families. Here, for example, is the little family of Stan Hack, living in Chicago. And here's Stan himself, hurrying downstairs to breakfast. And there's another young cub, Mr. Hack Jr., getting a chuck under the chin from Dad. When this picture was made, Mrs. Hack said that he can hit a ball 20 yards when he hits it. Baseball has attracted fine athletes as players from many walks in life. Some from college teams, others from businesses, which left them enough leisure to perfect themselves in the game. They have their hobbies, too, in which they find all the thrills they're used to in well-deserved recreation after a grueling season of professional ball playing. Some players like Tony Cuccinello go in for deep-sea fishing and angle for fighting tarpon off the Florida Keys. Still others, such as Claude Passo, spend days afield with dog and gun, or, alert for mallards on the wing, sit in duck blinds. In other words, ball players have pleasures, hopes, ideals, and sorrows, even as you and I. They have fun, too, even in the monotony of spring training. Here's Gabby Hartnett, Collins, Cavaretta, and O'Day. One of their favorite pastimes is the pepper game, but it takes sharp wits, sharp eyes, quick hands, and alert minds to play it. Ambitious young ball players would do well to practice it if they want to keep on their toes. In addition to being kept in training for the game, the player's physical condition is carefully watched by their trainers. Here's Larry French having his arm massaged by trainer Andy Lotshaw. Clubhouses are equipped to take care of anything that might happen, short of a major injury. But keeping fit and in good training doesn't end with the hard spring season by any means. Harold Trainer watches his men constantly, even through the half-hour preliminary batting allowed each team before a game is played. The players themselves welcome this constant practice during the season because it is only by constant practice that a ball player can remain worthy of the game, and because every ball player plays the game to win. Playing to win is the keynote of baseball, and it is this characteristic of the players and the game that brings the crowds to ballparks. Baseball is a science, and to be played properly, it must be played scientifically. But before we discuss the finer points of technique, let us note in this game some of the characteristics which make good ball players. First, a healthy body obedient to an alert mind. Second, perfect coordination between the mind and the muscles, which must be flexible, strong, and enduring. These attributes are behind every individual or team play which rings delighted shrieks from the spectators. Or, if you're among the unfortunates who can't join these crowds at the ballpark, they keep you huddled close to your radio to hear the play-by-play description broadcast from the field. Here's Red Barber, the Wheaties announcer at Crosley Field.
Joe Medwick standing down there at the plate. The count is 2-0, 2 balls and no strikes. Is he hitting or is he taking? In rides the pitch. Joe gets a hold of it. It's a sharp line drive, hit out into right center field. Medwick, running with the wind, is around first base, heading for second. In comes the throw in. Medwick slides, and he's safe. A two-bagger for Joe Medwick into right center field.
And here are Joe Medwick's eyes, keen, watchful, intelligent, the kind of eyes needed for good ball playing. Boys with good eyesight guard it well. Joe Medwick, you remember, is an outstanding batter. Let's watch him and learn something from the technique which won for Joe a National League batting championship. Note that he has an easy, comfortable stance, and that he has complete confidence in himself. Here's his grip on the bat. The middle knuckles of the fingers on one hand are in a straight line with the hand knuckles of the other hand. This is an ideal grip for flexibility. And now analyze in slow motion Slaughter's follow through. Feet well apart, weight well distributed. As he swings, you will see his weight shifting. A forward stride will put the weight of his trunk and shoulders behind the swing. Now watch the bat's perfectly level arc. The wrists will add their snap at the moment of impact with the ball. The timing and follow-through are perfect. There's the whole trick of correct form. And correct form should be the goal of every boy who wants to play really good baseball. It is well to remember that the game embodies two opposing factors, just as Doubleday said, defense and offense. Defense is the strategy used to prevent the scoring of runs, that is, the pitching, catching, fielding, and interbase plays which outwit the attack. Offensive plays, of course, are for the scoring of runs. It's the batter and runner against the field. It will be interesting to note the differences of technique in some of the outstanding batters. Here's Lee Handley, known as Jeep. He's a Bradley College boy of the class of 1935 and plays remarkable infield baseball. Handley's technique in the batter's box is to choke his bat and take a shorter stride as he meets the ball. This makes it easier to hit the ball to either field, according to the location of the pitch. Mel Ott, who started as a catcher in 1925 and is now an outfielder and a prize hitter, has a style all his own. It is in his stride. His foot comes off the ground like a pitcher's. But notice this, when he hits, both feet are on the ground solidly with perfect balance. That's important. Here's Ernie Lombardi, a popular catcher who won the National League batting championship for 1938. He's a big fellow, and gets his power as a hitter by putting the whole weight of his great bulk into the swing. But experience has shown that you don't have to be a big man to be a good ball player. In fact, many fine players like Lloyd Waner here are medium-sized. But you do have to have the alert eyes, right grip, quick mind, correct form, and determination. Look at the expression of determination on the face of Ivor Goodman, an unusually powerful distance hitter, as he faces the pitcher. Well, every player who plays to win must be determined to win, and facing a pitched ball takes nerve. You people realize the almost incredible speed at which a pitched ball approaches the plate. The pitching distance is set at 60 feet 6 inches, and the ball covers it in about 3/5 of a second, a speed of over a mile a minute. Even in slow motion, it's evident that the batter must have perfect timing to connect with the ball at just the proper instant. Good-natured Gabby Hartnett has perfect free batting form, steady as a rock and instantly ready to swing at the right moment. A $50 laid on his bat is as safe as in a bank until his swing starts. There's just another example of how to achieve perfect timing. Footwork is just as important as head work and arm work. No one knows this better than Herschel Martin, an outfielder and a right-hand batter. Note that the follow-through pivots a right-hand batter toward third base and throws his weight on the left foot. He must be prepared, therefore, to instantly turn his body back toward the plate to get underway quickly toward his goal at first base. Joe Moore is a left-hand hitter who has been in the National League since 1932. Joe has always been a .300 hitter from his minor league days. A left-hand hitter has an advantage. He swings his weight to his right foot when he bats and turns in the direction of the baseline. This makes for a quicker getaway. And now let us watch some of the other batters who, with all the other players, devoted many mornings to making these pictures. Here's Frank McCormick, an outstanding infielder who made the All-Star team in his first year in Major League Baseball. Johnny Rizzo, an outfielder, is another who became an outstanding player his first year. Rizzo has complete confidence in himself as a result of his great record as a slugger. Archie Vaughn has a reputation as an infielder, but he won the National League Batting Championship in 1935 with an average of .385. That's great batting. Here's Billy Herman, who is universally recognized as the finest second baseman in the National League. He also has a great reputation as a hit-and-run man. And Ray Muller, this young man is a promising catcher who has had 3 years' experience as a National League player. He gets tremendous power in his drives. As an infielder or outfielder, Debs Garms is an effective player. At bat, he levels on the ball and is a sharp line drive hitter. And now Harry Danning, a young man in his late 20s who shines as a catcher. The point of these scenes is, good defensive players also must be effective offensive players at the plate. Of course, bunting is also batting, of a special kind and with special purposes. Players bunt under certain specific circumstances, and there are 4 types of bunting. For the purpose of illustration, only one will be shown here, the sacrifice bunt as performed by right and left-hand hitters. Leo Durocher is a right-hand hitter. Stuart Martin, on the opposite side of the plate, makes a similar bunt. The sacrifice bunt is made to advance runners to scoring positions, and since that is the purpose, rather than reaching first safely, it is executed in a crouching position with the bat held parallel to the ground, the weight on both feet, and the body facing the pitcher. There is no attempt to start from the plate toward first until the ball is actually bunted. There's a world of difference between throwing and pitching. Here's George Ryan about to field a hot grounder and throw to first. There it is, a fast, straight throw. And here's another straight throw by Jordan this time, who throws one home from first. And a player must throw quickly as well as straight. Here's a hot infield grounder. Durocher has it, throws, and the runner from third is out at the plate. Another example. Here's a fly ball to the outfield. DiMaggio races in from his position, he's got it, and throws. That's straight throwing. Now, in a sense, a pitcher must also throw straight. That is, he must get the ball over the plate. This iron frame marks the limits of the strike zone above the plate, 17 inches wide and from the batter's shoulders to knees. Crossbars indicate the so-called corners. Carl Hubbell has exceptional control. He'll work the corners into which the strike zone has been divided, as pitchers do according to various batters' weaknesses. First, low inside. Here it comes. Second, high outside. Third, low outside. And now, in slow motion, high inside. Watch it. There is perfect control. Successful pitching depends on that. But pitching has many variations. The directly overhand curve of Paul Derringer is one of them. In this pitch, most batters top the ball and hit it to the ground because the ball breaks almost directly down at the plate. As the radio announcers say, here's the windup, the pitch, and boy, is that a honey. Bill Lee, like every good pitcher, develops his own technique. Here he pitches a curve from a 3/4 overhand delivery. This curve ball he is now pitching snaps down and away from a right-hand hitter. Now here is Bill Lee's pitch in slow motion. The same curve. A curve ball is spun out of the hand with the middle finger and wrist. Once the arm gets even with the body, the wrist is snapped a quarter turn outward, making the ball spin in the same direction. Kurt Davis favors pitching his curve with a sidearm delivery in which his arm passes through a plane parallel to the ground. A curve ball thrown in this manner always breaks toward the opposite side from which it was thrown, and unlike overhand curves, breaks parallel with the ground. Davis is one of the comparatively few sidearm pitchers. A curveball thrown from this delivery might seem to be difficult to control, but for a man with Davis's skill, the contrary is the fact. If you don't believe it, take a look at that. Tot Pressnell pitches a knuckleball that differs from a curve, but it fools him plenty. It seems to float without spinning and breaks abruptly. And here's another interesting view of the knuckleball. Watch it closely as the ball approaches, and you will see from the seams that the ball doesn't turn over or spin. In fact, it depends on air resistance against the seams for the break. You can't tell what a knuckleball will do, but here's one that is perfect, right over the old rubber. And now it ducks down and away. Johnny Vander Meer, who pitched 2 consecutive no-hit games, frequently depends on speed. Watch him. No tenseness in his entire body. But when the delivery comes, the muscles jump into action, the arm whips forward, the wrist snaps, and the ball is over the plate. Complete relaxation of the muscles prior to the pitch is an important factor in good pitching. It rests the muscles until every bit of energy and grit is needed. Now to get back to the fastball, the effectiveness of this speedy pitch of Vander Meer's results from the rapidity with which the ball reaches the plate. That is, you will remember approximately in 1/2 second or slightly better. Fitzsimmons here shows the proper stance after pitching. Pitchers must be ready for whatever happens. Most plays are completed in about 4 seconds, so Fitz's position is held merely for you to study. This play, for example, a hot grounder to first baseman Camilli, who is playing deep, compels Fitzsimmons to cover first base for the throw. This happens quite often and takes plenty of speed. In this case, he wasn't speedy enough. The runner's safe. Analyze the play on a chart. The same play exactly. Keep your eyes on the whole play. Here's a note for young catchers. If there's no chance of a play at home, the catcher backs up the pitcher at first. And now the play once more in close-ups, in which you can see the action of each man involved in the play. Garms hits. Camilli, the first baseman, has it, and the pitcher takes it at first. Sliding is a means of checking the runner's speed and avoiding the defensive player attempting to make the tag. Worstler executes a hook slide by throwing his weight away from the line of his momentum toward the base. You can see in slow motion exactly how he does it. This is only one of 4 kinds of slides, the others being the feet first slide, the bent leg slide, and the head first slide. We'll show you the latter, performed by Pepper Martin. Here he comes. Watch him. This slide is not recommended, primarily because the outstretched hands provide an easy target for the player attempting to tag out the runner, but Martin and others occasionally use it to advantage. A good catcher must be a smart strategist as well as a quick thinker and quick actor. And this man, Al Lopez, is a good catcher. He must study and remember the weaknesses of the batters on all contending teams, and he must know their strong points as well. With this knowledge, he acts as field general and signals the pitcher for the pitch he thinks will outwit the hitter. The signals must be hidden from the opposing coaches near third and first bases. Also, catchers must be as quick as a cat, like Mickey Owen in covering a bunted ball which lands anywhere in his fielding territory. And if you were just a little more than 20 years old and were successfully playing Major League Baseball, you'd strut too. Lombardi shows that a catcher must be on his toes. Watch how he comes up immediately to a pegging stance after each pitch, ready for a quick throw to any danger points, which are plenty when runners are on bases. Throwing success depends on the ability to get the ball away quickly. Now, just a word of warning to ambitious young catchers. Learn to prevent hand and finger injuries. Look at Virgil Davis's right hand. The wrist is flexed, fingers in a half-grasping position, and the thumb rests on the index finger. With the hand held thus, an incoming ball is unlikely to injure the thumb, and equally important, the movement of the hand during the catch prevents finger injuries. Watch how Todd extends the bare hand so that as the ball nears the glove, his hand follows it and simultaneously covers the ball as it hits in the pocket. Now for team defense. The defense shifts according to what it knows about the batter. Number 1 position is for a straightaway hitter. Number 2 position is taken when the batter is known to be likely to hit to left field. And number 3 is for right field hitters. Now let's turn our attention to individual defensive plays. For instance, at first base. Camilli is an outstanding first baseman. He can stretch and he shifts his feet with remarkable grace and precision. This ability to shift one's feet quickly and accurately and to stretch prodigiously are the first baseman's most important characteristics. The long stretch gets a low ball and shortens the distance a ball has to travel, which often means the difference between safe or out. The playing techniques shown in the foregoing scenes are only a few of the vast number of things to be learned before one can hope to be an expert ball player. But they are fundamentals, and any boy who enjoys playing the game may well study and practice them. Playing baseball is a worthwhile pastime. Professional baseball playing is a worthwhile profession. Some of the boys now looking at this picture may become heroes of the diamond, and other boys grown up will cheer them on. Baseball playing isn't just exercise, it's a business in which every real player plays to win and plays hard. Any game which promotes good sportsmanship and the determination to win helps youth to play the game of life with the right spirit. Older heads know that victory isn't the whole story, that there is sometimes glory in defeat, but youth should press eagerly forward with victory as its goal. Baseball symbolizes that spirit. The nation applauds it. That's why press boxes are maintained at ballparks. That's why, for those who still hear the voice of youth, newspapers carry columns of baseball news, and announcers broadcast the game to waiting millions.
Runners on second and third. Dizzy Dean takes his windup. Here's the pitch, and Martin drives a hot one into center. Gutteridge on second, starts with the crack of the bat. He's rounding third, and there he goes over the plate, standing up. And listen to the St. Louis knothole gang. There's the voice of youth. Mize is the next batter, and it's a long fly to right field. Marty's under it, and he's got it. And that ends the ball game with a score of 5-1. There's another game tomorrow, and if you can't get out, your announcer will describe the game play by play. But now, into thousands of peaceful American homes, our spectators will carry the spirit of the game, the spirit expressed by the voice of youth. This is the USA, the voice of youth.